All right, welcome back to another episode of the Black Bullion Show for goldandsilvertoday.com. Check that website out, guys. Okay, so what can we expect from gold and silver prices next week? Well, I know since September, the MO has been to expect the unexpected, but I do think that President Trump's diagnosis does give us some guardrails in making some guesses as to where prices will go. Now, yes, just as Forex markets were reacting to Brexit, which caused a lot of movement in gold and silver recently, I do think that trading sentiment has been shifted by this recent diagnosis. Now, obviously, I don't think there's a direct relationship between Trump's prognosis and gold and silver prices. However, I do think there's one with another metric that I'll go over very shortly. But first, if you're new to this channel, please hit that big red subscribe button right down below. Also, please hit the like button. Helps to get this economic evangelism right on out there to the masses to bring more people into precious metals. Okay, so to better understand where I'm coming from, Kitco presents an interesting take here. What does President Trump's Roni's news mean for gold price next week? All right, so let's get into it. There is a lot of confusion in the marketplace after US President Donald Trump tested positive. Still, analysts remain bullish on gold next week, aside from a few caveats to watch out for. The Trump news trumps everything else: economic data, the stimulus package, etc., said Phoenix Futures and Options LLC President Kevin Grady. Gold pulled back a bit, but with all the money out there, the yellow metal should be higher. There are a lot of speculators in the gold space right now. They are pushing the market lower. For now, gold seems to be stuck as it trades around the $1,900 an ounce mark. Grady told Kitco News on Friday. Trump's news should push people towards gold due to increased uncertainty, but since gold is currently trading in tandem with stocks, a lot depends on market reaction to next week's developments. Gold and stocks are trading together. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty, and there is a risk that investors will choose to liquidate their positions just to protect themselves in case something bad happens over the weekend, he said. Next week will be all about watching how Trump's illness develops and whether there's any chance the government can get the additional stimulus approved, said Kitco Metals Global Trading Director Peter Hugg. If the president gets really sick, you would expect that to be positive for the metal just because of the uncertainty of the government being able to function without Trump. Offsetting that notion is the equity market, which is likely to continue weaker as people raise cash, which is negative for the metals, said Hugg. Given what we know about Trump, will the government be able to get the stimulus package together prior to the election? The market needs it. If they don't get it, it is problematic for the equity markets and metals as well. It is in the interest of Republicans to get some stimulus out there to help stabilize the markets before the election, noted Peter Hugg. If not, with a second wave coming and the economy slowing, there is going to be a downturn. Now, I personally wouldn't go as far as saying, gold and silver have been trading like stocks purely as a matter of semantics. Just me kind of being nitpicky there. I'd rather say that both sectors' price actions are now both heavily determined by traders. That's essentially the nucleus behind it. Now, meaning that much of that recent price action we've been seeing in gold has been coming from ETFs, as we know from past articles I've shared, and we can assume that many retail investors have gone into the game almost to make a quick buck, and that distorts the traditional tendency for gold prices to rise during times of uncertainty. Instead, we see sell-offs, and because people are raising cash, as Hugg said. And that takes us to Trump's diagnosis. We know with the Ronies, symptoms begin to worsen initially before recovering. If reports get worse, which they may initially due to the natural course of the actual illness, then we should expect gold and silver prices to slip a bit next week if reports start becoming public about that. Now, Trump did come out over the weekend and he did say, he did speak directly to the American public. He had a suit on. He was sitting at a desk. He looked, pretty, together. But still, if news does come out, that, hey, he was just put on oxygen, or hey, this happened, we have more Republicans testing positive. Chris Christie, for example, from New Jersey, tested positive. This actually may bring this into focus, the VIX. And as I've said before, there isn't a direct relationship between gold and silver prices and the president's prognosis, but there seems to be one with the VIX. Initially, when the news came out, the VIX skyrocketed and eventually came back down a bit as the day went on. But towards the end of the trading day, news came out that Trump was being flown to Walter Reed Hospital, which the VIX actually started to pick up with by the end of the day. It reacted to the upside. So that gives us a hint, if Trump's illness actually worsens, maybe sometime next week, we may see the VIX rise, thus causing gold and silver prices to fall. This may begin happening, next week. And just like the article said, the stimulus is a huge factor, the stimulus bill being passed. And again, it may give things a bump. But overall, the VIX is going to it still plays a huge role here. And if things take a turn for the worse, that could be a toll on gold and silver prices, in lieu of, a stimulus bill passing. Though I do think just on the news of that alone, we will see a little bit of a bump there. Now, who knows? The president may just get mild symptoms and return to work A-OK. Now, if that does happen, and of course, we know he's been taking some additional, trying to find a word that I can say on YouTube without getting, flagged or throttled here. But he's been taking other types of medication to, help his condition early on. And who knows? Maybe we'll see that after he, if he gets better, he might say, hey, let's bring this thing, to the public and fast track this thing as we wait for the Roni shot. And that also may be a boost to prices and a boost to, the stock market as well, because of traders, not because that's how gold traditionally acts. But guys, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're new. It's Black Bullion for goldandsilvertoday.com.